Hi golfers, Nick here from Nick Taylor Golf. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on golf tips, I'm going to show you guys how important the takeaway is to keep the club on plane, some drills to help you play better golf, and some real life examples to show you guys what to look for in the golf swing. So first up guys, I'm just going to share with you an example of a lesson this week, what we worked on in the takeaway and to help him keep the club on plane and to play better golf, and we're going to show you later a drill to help you guys out there. So guys, if you're measuring your golf swing, one of the first things I do is line up a line on the shaft. This is going to sort of set the swing plane for the golf swing. You can see this golfer here setting up. There are the lines there on the grid for the hands and the club path which move around the body. As you've seen in some of the mats here at GOLFTEC, I'll draw those lines into the mat just to help the golfers, but we're going to go into that later. But first of all, just take a look at the differences here, and I'm going to show you guys what we did in the lesson. So when we take the club up to position 2, which is when the shaft is parallel here, what you'll notice on the left hand side here, the club head is a long way inside of the hands, where you can see on the right hand side here, this club head is in line with the hands. So the checkpoint here at position 2 is to get that club head in line with the hands and roughly on that white line. You want the hands and the club to trace that white line as closely as possible. You can see this one on the left is kind of off plane. So what happens is we take this club a bit further back here. So by the time we get up to between position 2 and 3, where the left arm's parallel, you can see the shaft plane here is a bit flatter on the left hand side compared to the one on the right hand side here, which is kind of more parallel to the white line. Then as you move the swing a bit further on, at the top of the golf swing here, the golfer on the left here at the original swing starts to get that club a little bit what we call across the line, where the club points to the right of the target, whereas now you can see the one here on the right is just slightly left of the target line, but kind of a little bit more on plane. On the left hand side, the swing was a little bit longer. You took the club inside on that takeaway. Now watch what happens as we start to come down here. So by the time we get down to roughly where the left arm is parallel, I'm just going to put a line in here pointing down the shaft. You can see on the right hand side this points at the ball, whereas on the left hand side this points just inside of the golf ball. But more importantly, watch what happens as we swing down here. So on the left hand side here, you can see his hands start to move outside of the blue line and the club underneath the line as well. So you kind of, again, on the way down, the club is a little bit too much inside the hands are outside of the blue line, whereas in the right hand side here you can see the hands and the club bang straight down that line. So it's keeping that club on plane. It's so much easier to control the golf swing if you can keep the club on plane. So this made a big difference to this golfer. So a couple of key checkpoints there. In the backswing, make sure you keep the club head in line with the hands in the takeaway. That keeps it on plane. And then at the top of the swing here, so he went flat, started to go across the line, and then in the downswing, you can see in the original swing the hands kind of moved out, club head drops underneath, whereas now he's swinging down that play line, which is going to help him play better golf. I'm going to explain now what we worked on in the golfer's golf swing and then show you guys a drill to help you play better golf. So you can see on the mat here we have the lines for the club head and the hand path. You can see I have this noodle here. It's angled roughly the same angle as the golf club here. So I'm just using an 8-iron here. This is set on the Tour Striker plane station at 55 degrees. So if this was set up for that particular golfer where there's maybe a few inch gap here between the shaft and the noodle here, in the original golf swing, that golfer would have hit into the noodle here because that club moved inside. We saw it went quite flat in the backswing across the line, and then as he came down, the hand path moved out, the club moved in, and that was making it very difficult for him to control the delivery into the golf ball. So there's a few key checkpoints and a few key things that we worked on with this particular golfer. I'm going to show you guys some drills that you can work on. But first of all, if you are able to set up something like this, it's a really good way just to give you guys kind of a visual and a guideline for the shaft plane in the golf swing. You want to be as close to parallel to that throughout the course of the swing. So if you struggle with the takeaway, a really good training aid to practice with this is just a simple alignment stick. And what I want you to do is just run that along the shaft and then grip around the stick and the club. So when you come in to make some swings or hit some golf balls, what you can do is start to use this stick as a guide for your golf swing. So in the original golf swing with that golfer, his club head moved inside the hands, so the stick would point way out to the right of the target line. In an ideal world, this club head should be in line with the hands, therefore the stick would point straight down the target line. So I can kind of see where my feet are here, roughly along the line of my feet. So I know if I take that club back on plane, this stick is going to point along the line of my feet here. If I take it back with the club head too much inside, you can see how the stick points way to the right. So for this particular golfer, like I said, he would have hit into this noodle here, and this is quite a good training aid to use when you practice. If you can set up either a alignment stick or a noodle in the ground, just to help with that initial takeaway. So when you practice this, it's quite difficult to hit golf balls full out with the stick there, but what you can do is just use like a mirror or video, just giving yourself some checkpoints. So the first one is club head in line with the hands, and then the second one is, as I start to swing back here, you can see how that stick now points at the golf ball. We saw in the original golf swing, if we'd put the stick there in the particular golfer, his shaft there would point way outside of the golf ball, and then as he came back down, he went across the line, then he went a bit steeper, and then the hands and the club are way off plane as he starts to swing down. So the first step is to start to get that club head in line with the hands. So to do that, I'm doing a few different things here. I'm tilting my shoulder downwards, my left shoulder. I'm turning, my knee flex is beginning to change. And this is quite important. We've done lots of studies here at GOLFTEC, and we realized that the shoulder tilt to the left and the turn is quite a lot even by the time you get to position 2. So you'd expect this left shoulder to have tilted down around 30 degrees, and you would have expected your shoulders to turn around 50 degrees just in that short period of time. I think a lot of golfers are a bit misunderstood in the takeaway, and they kind of just take it back with their hands, but actually you have to use your body. So the first checkpoint, club head in line with the hands at P2, and then pointing at the golf ball, and then just the feeling of that club and the hands moving down the line to the golf ball. So it's quite difficult to hit full out shots, but I'm going to hit a shot here and just try and do this the best I can. So position 2, I'm going to do a few reps, just making sure that's in line. Left arm parallel, just keeping that club down the plane line. It's quite difficult in the follow through here, but I'm going to try and hit a shot. So yeah, pretty straight. So I find this is a really good visual just to help you guys just use something like a mirror or a video just to practice. I do a lot of repetitions, as you know, with my golfers, working on practice swings. I think that's so important. Just doing plenty of practice swings can really help you improve your technique, and if you can get something like a video or a mirror to measure that, that's going to be quite important. So just a very simple one there with alignment stick, just to keep the club and the hands on plane and on the grid. Just shows you how important the takeaway was for this particular golfer. I'll be interested to find out from you golfers out there if that's something you've worked on in your golf swing. I think it's something that's really key. I think a lot of golfers are misunderstood in how they move the club, how they use their body just in that short period of time from setup to shaft parallel and P2. It's so important that you move that left shoulder down, make sure you turn, keep that club head in line with the hands to keep your club on plane and on the grid. So thanks for watching, golfers. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't already, please follow me at my other social media platforms, and I'll see you again next week for another video.